Hello, 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 everyone. How's it going? Long time no see, actually. Yep, in a way, yes. Because, yeah, I was not here for like last two GHWs, but it's good to be back. How's everyone doing? How's GHW going so far for everyone? Let me add a bit of a background music because I just like it. Yep, that's good. Hello, hello. We'll wait for a couple of seconds, let people join. But meanwhile, folks who have joined, please register for this session slash stream here. The link is in the chat. Okay. So there's the link. Please do register for the session. Helps me, helps you, helps like GHW to keep a track of people who are joining. Okay. So yeah, that's the only request that I have. And for those who don't know me, my name is, like, as you can see, it's on the screen, UT. Full name Utkarsh, but yeah, I prefer to go by UT because that's how everyone knows me here. Everyone knows me in MLH, and yeah, we are going to do a bit of Python today. So, if you have seen my Discord announcement, I said that we are going to learn how to build interactive maps using Python. So, we are going to use Python and a couple of libraries to basically learn how do I, plot things on a map. How do I use a custom data set to plot things on a map? How can I like add my own uh, kind of boundaries, let's say, like provide a latitude, longitude of a map that I have, and or a location that I have, and plot it in Python. We are going to do, as far as I have right now, I have like three data sets that we are going to plot. The session is divided into three parts. Part one and part two, both of them are going to happen today. So right now, this is the first one, the part one, and the part two will be today itself. We'll have like the first session for 2 hours, then a break of 1 hour, and then another session today of 2 hours. So part one and part two will get over today, and part three will be tomorrow. So I'm just excited for this session because even building maps was something that I've done for the first time, and it was a fun thing for me. And I hope you all like it as well. Okay. So with that out, uh, yeah, with that information out, I just hope that you all are excited once again. And I hope you code along with me. So, if you have not joined my previous sessions ever, then let me tell you that I am a very big fan of Code Along. And that is why I recommend personally, okay, not from like this does not come from MLH right at this moment. Personally, I recommend that please use Replit if you can. Create an account on Replit because then you can code along with me. You can also do it on your local environment. I have no issues with it. Feel free to use whatever environment you like. Feel free to use whatever tools you like. Uh, I prefer Replit because it takes away the hassle of setting up a development environment. Okay, so if you like, I'll just go to like the home page. All my previous repls, all GHW ones have, like, I've done all my sessions on Replit. Okay, I've coded along and requested folks to code along on Replit. So create a account on Replit. It's free. It's easy to create an account. All you have to do is click on register, and it takes you to a page where you can either log in with Google or GitHub or something else. One click and you're done. So yeah, I would request that if you want to code along with me, then definitely create an account on Replit. And it would also make me it easy for me to look at your code if you get stuck somewhere, and I can share my code, which I think would be required today. Okay, like we'll do some code sharing, some REPL sharing today. So yeah, I've sent the link in the chat of Replit. Let me highlight it again. So please create an account, and then we can get started. So I'll wait for, like, let's say a couple of seconds for folks to create an account, and then we can go ahead from there. Will there be a related challenge for this session? No. Hello. Unfortunately, no. I don't have any challenges with my session. Uh, but yeah, that's something I should ask Mary, maybe for future sessions, that if I can have something of a challenge with my sessions. Yeah, but yeah, right now, no, not for my sessions. Sorry. Uh, Also, I have requested this in the past. If this stream seems like something that's very basic, and you find it quite boring, still, please, I would request you to stay and help others. Okay, so some of you might not be beginners. Some of you are beginners who have never touched a line of Python. So folks who already know stuff, stay around to help people in the chat, so that it's a give and take of information, it's a give and take of knowledge, and at the same time you're helping the community, you're helping to build this community that we have here. So yeah, please do stay if you already know stuff, and if you don't know stuff, definitely code along. Okay, so with that, let's get started. So I hope you all have created an account on Replit by now, and once you have done that, you would normally be on the home page. Now, I came for a session after 2 months, and when I was like looking at Replit, things have changed a lot, at least from the UI perspective. So previously, it used to be like you can kind of find templates here, but now I see that it has moved on the left hand side, and it's on the left side nav bar, uh, you can say. So what you have to do is go to templates, and while I can see Python right here, if you don't then just search for Python, and this first one that we see here, the Python, which has like 4.3k likes and 51.5 million uh, folks, that is the one that we are going to use. So we'll just click on use template, give it a name. I'm going to give it GHW underscore data underscore week underscore 2024. And I'm going to give it a description of interactive maps visualization. Yeah, I think this should be good enough. And I'm just going to click on use template. So it's that easy to get a template may open or create a template. Number one, go to this templates option, which is on the left hand side. Let me just quickly go over it again. So templates right here, search for a template. Let's say like we are going to use a Python template. Click on it, give it a name, give it a description, and click on use template. If you have already created a template, you will find it on your home page, or I think even on your REPLs. Okay, so one of those places. So this is the template that I have created, and I'm going to use it. So once you go inside the REPL, also let me just move away from the screen so that you can focus totally on the screen. Yeah, once you go inside your template, once you go inside your REPL, this is what it should look like for everyone except for the dark and light mode. I am not too sure how that works out for everyone. But yeah, generally you will have the main.py file, which would be empty. You can see the console and the shell. And I think, yeah, that should be it. These are the things that you should see. Hey, hi, hello, everyone in the chat. So, okay, so that's what you should see. And the first thing that we are going to do is just print hello GHW. Okay, I'm going to print that, and there's a big orange slash. I think so for some people it's sometimes green, but you can see a big run button. Just click on that, and on the console, you should see an output. Okay, it's that simple. So, folks who are new to Python, how do you print something on console? You just write print, and inside you just write few things, right? So that is it. So hello GHW. So it, at least from my perspective, everything seems to be running fine for me. Uh, if you are actually joining right now, and if you have created a REPL for the first time on Replit, please make sure that everything runs for you as well. So just print out something, see if it works, and if it does, then we can move ahead. I'll wait for again a couple of seconds. Okay, so seems to me that everyone's REPL is working fine, which is nice for me. And let's move ahead. Just give me like 5 more seconds. Perfect. Okay, so moving ahead, what are we going to do next? Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is actually just get into coding. So, what are we going to build? Let's talk about that. So, we are going to build a very simple thing, a very simple app, which would be to visualize the states and the capitals in India. Okay. So, it would be that simple and that easy. State and their capital of like the states and capitals of India. Okay. So, how are we going to do that? We are going to use a data set. Now, the data set was something that I kind of, I wouldn't say steal, but I borrowed from like a couple of places, collated it together. And after that, I still had to manually enter a few things. So I created a state city data JSON file. Okay. So I'm going to add that here, state underscore city underscore data dot JSON file. And I'm going to paste this right here. Now my REPL is supposed to be public. Okay. So let me just quickly see. Next. I publish to community and copy this. And let me just share this in the chat. Let me first see if it works in incognito. Yep, I can see it for sure. So I'm going to paste this link in the chat. So what you have to do is on your Replit, you can click on this new file and create a new file, call it state city data dot JSON, state underscore city underscore data dot JSON. And the link that I have shared, okay, the link that I have shared, what you have to do is just go over that link. Once you open that, I think it would normally open the main.py. Go to state city data JSON, control A slash command A, control C slash command C. So just copy and paste it in your own REPL. the easiest thing to do right here, right? So please do that so that you have the same data that I have and you don't have to collate it. Uh, and let me like briefly go over the data while everyone's copying it. It's a JSON file. Inside the array you can see individual JSON where I have an ID, I have the name of the state, the capital of that state, and the latitude and the longitude. Okay, so lat and long of different states in India and their capitals. For folks who are not Andhra Pradesh capital. I could be wrong, but let me see. Andhra Pradesh capital. Yeah, it is Amravati actually. Uh, yeah, so it should be correct. uh, yeah, the state and the capital came from Wikipedia. The latitude and longitude came from either like most of the times Googling the place and copying it from Google Maps. And I think there was another website called as wait, let me remember. I think GADM, I guess. So, yes, it is nearly correct. Let's go with that aspect that it is nearly correct. Okay, so about the data, yeah, the state, the capital, the latitude and longitude. And second thing is that uh, for folks who are like unaware of what a state is, like it's not called state in every other country. So let's say in the UK it would be kind of like a county. Okay, so a state, you can think of it as a county, and the capital would be like one of the major cities in the county. So that's the data set. We are not going to discuss too much about the data, whether like if it's correct or not. I would assure you that it is like 95% correct, unless something changed between the time I created this data set and today. So the data is already here. Let's move on to coding it. Okay, let's start developing stuff. Now we are going to use one of the libraries that I like, which is Plotly. And we are going to use specifically scatter map box first. Okay. We're going to create maps from it. We are going to use libraries to create the map and we are going to plot on it. We'll also use a few libraries where we can provide our own data set of latitude and longitude and create a map. I mean, it's very difficult to explain unless we get into it. But other than that, it should be something new at least from what I have done in the past, and maybe something new for some folks out here. So we are the first library that I'm going to use would be Plotly. Okay. So if you, I think in one of the AIML weeks, I guess, I used Plotly to plot a bunch of things like pie charts, bar graphs, line charts. Okay, so I have used Plotly before, and when I got to know, like when I was preparing for this session, I got to know that they also provide maps. So I was like, wow, that is cool. And that is why the first one is going, like the first thing that we are going to do is use Plotly, and we are going to use the scatter plot. Okay, now what is a scatter plot? For someone who's like totally new to this domain, scatter means like you have bunch of things that are scattered around, like points that are scattered around a specific area. Okay, now in this case we have the capital cities of different states. So we are going to use scatter map because we want to plot individual data point on the map based on the latitude and the longitude coordinates. So scatter map is also helpful when we have to show a specific or exact location of data point, and we can use this method or this function, like I would say method, uh not this one, like dot scatter underscore map box. So we can use this method slash function to also have multiple other things, like we can define uh, what the color of the points are going to be. We can also define like on hover what it should show, like a pop-up kind of thing. And yeah, normally you would use scatter map box when you want to show positions or facilities or landmarks or geographical features. And this is best when you want to show data points uh, without the region specificity. So yeah, that's all I would say with respect to scatter map box. You have, as seen, scatter points over a particular region. On hover you can see some data about it, and yep, that should be it to understand. But let's plot our own and see how it works out for us. Okay, so step one, I am going to, how do we get the replit to load as it appears on your screen? You mean how did I create this template? I'll quickly go over it. So once you create an account on Replit, just go on the templates, search template as Python, use the click on the use template, give it a name, description, click on use template, and that should be it. And you will get something that looks like mine. You also need this state underscore city underscore data.json file, which I will share in the chat once again. Oh, it's showing loading. Sorry, I missed that message. So yeah, just hard refresh it. So Control Shift R or Command Shift R should do the trick. Or you can also like shut Replit and restart. Maybe that will work as well. And you can get the data from here. Okay, let's move on. Now we are also, I think in one of the previous sessions, I had done this, that I was using Streamlit to show it on a web. Okay, I was using Streamlit to show the data on web. Why? Because I just have started kind of liking Streamlit, uh, and it helps that Streamlit is also some one of our sponsors of MLH. So good thing for me. I also like it because I don't have to worry too much about writing. Yeah, I don't have to worry too much about writing like web UIs. Streamlit does it for me. So yeah, that's all I would say. Kind of like it. So let's start from importing a few libraries. Yes, Streamlit does have good styles. So the first library that I'm going to import is Streamlit. So import Streamlit, and I'm going to rename it as ST. Why renaming it? Makes it easy, and, from the perspective of like writing Streamlit again and again. Then we are also going to use a library called as Pandas. So Pandas is kind of a data, not exactly I would say crunching, but helps with data manipulation and data analysis. Okay, so we are going to use Pandas, and of course the whole thing would be based off Plotly, right? So we are going to use Plotly. So for that we can use import plotly.express as px, which is like kind of a conventional way of doing it. So import plotly.express as px, and I think this should be, at least for now, this should be it. Yeah. Okay, so import Streamlit as st, import pandas as pd, and import plotly.express as px. And now I'm going to define a variable which would be path to data. Now path to data would be in this case, we it should be in the same folder as I'm currently working. So I'm just going to do dot slash state underscore city underscore data dot json. Okay, that's it. I'm going to do that. And let's also do one more thing. Let's create a st dot I would say title, st dot title, and this I am going to name it as GHW data week. Okay, so I've done a bunch of things. I have imported a bunch of libraries, not using all of them, and this is what I have. So I'm going to click on this run button. Now clicking on the run button, what it does is it installs these libraries for us. As in, like, Replit is smart that any library that you're using but you have not installed, Replit will install it for us. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to wait for it to install. So as you can see on the right hand side, it says like poetry ad, plotly, streamlit, pandas. So it looked at what am I importing and it knows that I've not added it before. So it started adding those libraries. So I'm going to wait actually for a couple of seconds, let it install everything. And meanwhile, let me check the chat if there are any questions. Okay, none, which is nice. We're just getting started. Uh, Also, now that I think about it, we will have multiple things on one Streamlit application. So, also, I am going to, hmm, hmm, I think I'm also going to start doing the separation of concerns right here. Okay, there's a quick question in the chat. Will it auto download if we are using VS Code? Unfortunately, no. So you'll have to install it. All you have to do is just pip install, and this is assuming that you have Python installed already. Okay, so pip install Plotly, Streamlit, and Pandas. So I'm making a fair assumption here that you have Python installed on your system. And if you have that, you can go to your terminal and do pip install Plotly, Streamlit, Pandas. I cannot type on main.py. Just refresh. I think that should do the trick. Okay, so Streamlit, while we clicked on the run button, there is a problem. It says that to view the Streamlit app on browser, run it using the following command: Streamlit run main.py. Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to do Streamlit run main.py. I'm going to leave that blank and blah blah blah. And it kind of does something. It says that port something something opened on this, but I still don't see the page. Okay, so someone says that scroll down and click on button. No, I remember that you'll need to set up the host, like host in 000. Remember doing it previously. Oh, there we go. Yes. Okay, so what did I have to do is there is this, you can manage this config in the networking tool. So you have to go to your shell first, and you can click on this manage your config in the networking tool. And as you can see, it says a bunch of things, but there's a dev URL which you can click. Okay, for the maximizing, oh, yep, still does that. Yeah, interestingly, like last time I remember it showed automatically. So yeah, you can do something on the web view as well. You can scroll on the web view, click on show web content, and that should give you something. And you can click on this new tab, which will open a new tab. Yep, that should do the trick. And you can see what you have. You can also click on this networking tool, and it gives you a dev URL right here, which you can click and open in a new tab. So that is the Streamlit application that you can see. Any questions, anyone? So where do we use the pip command? It should be in your terminal, but only for folks who are doing it locally. Anyone who is doing it on Replit, you just click on the run button and that should install everything. Okay. Yes, true. Okay. So once again, uh, let me like properly reload this. Once I reload it, let's say that I don't have web view. I need shell, and it says that what you have to do is streamlit run main.py. Okay, so main.py is the name of the file that I have here. So streamlit run main.py, hit enter, it will start something, and it says that the port has opened, and it will also open the web view, but you won't directly see it, you won't automatically see it. So there are two options. You can like maximize this and click on the show web content. Once you do that, it should show you web content. And there's this new tab button. Click on it and it will open in a new tab. And you can minimize or restore the pane by clicking on this option. The other option should be here somewhere. There's a settings icon on bottom right, networking tool. Okay, it's called networking tool. Click on that and you should get a dev URL. And that is the same thing, like clicking on that should open Streamlit for you. So all it shows right now is GHW data week, which is the title that we gave. So let's say I also add 2024, and you go on Streamlit and it gives you this prompt: source file changed, rerun, always rerun. You can click on always rerun, but I like the rerun option. And as you can see, it has updated. Now we are also going to do a bunch of configuration. Let's start doing that quick configuration. We will also move out a bunch of code from here, like not needed code. And let me close this and let me like kind of minimize that. Okay, not really needed for us right now. Perfect. So I came late. Did I miss anything? We are just getting started. All you have to do is create a Replit account and go over this REPL, copy paste the main.py and state underscore city underscore data.json file. Perfect. So what are the other bunch of configurations that I'm going to do? Step one, like this would come on like, let's say before the title. Okay. The first thing that should be done is as Streamlit suggests, that you have to set the page config before anything and everything else. So I'm going to set one of the page config, which is layout. It should be wide. Okay. So layout wide, and then I'm going to also move this title just below the layout. So layout wide and title this, and let's rerun. So if you see that whatever was at the center has now moved kind of to the left. So this is the wide layout. Okay. Now I'm going to do another thing. All the libraries that we imported here, uh, I don't actually need everything here. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it state underscore city underscore map dot py. Okay, so it's a Python file. It will be a Python file, and in this Python file, we are going to import pandas and plotly. So I'm going to cut it from here, go to the newly created file, paste it there. Why? Because separation of concerns. We are going to plot like this map. We are also going to plot another map. So I would prefer to create different functions that I can import in map main.py. So now main.py has only one import, which is Streamlit. It has page config, it has title. The path to data, I can actually delete it from here, not needed. What else do I need in my main.py? So I will create a sidebar dictionary. Okay. A sidebar dictionary. A dictionary is a key value pair. So I'm going to create a key which will be like, let's say, state dash city scatter map. Okay. And what is the value? So this is the key. What is the value of this? So the value will come from state city map.py. So for now, I'm just going to keep it empty. Okay. Or we can just say like a, like something. I'm going to just add a random letter there. But ideally, this will come from the state city map.py file. Uh, so for the second file, all I'm doing is the map that we are going to make will, like, all the code will go in this file. The main.py, which will be an entry point to our code. So I'm doing separation of concerns basically. Okay, separating out different parts of the code. So once we complete this, you will see how it looks and what happens. Now I'm going to say a chart underscore type. So I'm creating a function def main, uh, and I'm going to say chart type equals to, I create a sidebar using Streamlit. So Streamlit allows me to create a sidebar. So st.sidebar. And on that sidebar, I need a radio button. Okay. So radio button is like allows you to select one thing at a time. And it has like a title of select chart type. Okay. And what will be shown here? The sidebar dict dot keys. Okay, so from the sidebar dictionary, the keys of the dictionary. So this is a key of the dictionary. This is a value. Okay, so state city scatter map is a key and a is a value. So that's what we are telling, like on the sidebar, show the keys. Again, just follow along. Once you visually see it, it will make much more sense. And then what are we going to do is we are going to call that dictionary again and tell it that whatever option user has used, okay, take that and call the function on it. So sidebar dict, on that, take the chart type, the option that user has selected, and call that function. And Yep, I think should be it. Let's see. If I go here and it is giving me the rerun option, I have, oh, one more thing that I should be doing is I will tell it that if name double equals to underscore underscore main, uh, this is just one way of telling. Yeah, this is one way of telling Python that whenever we call this particular thing, uh, please, like, whenever we call this particular file, like run like this part. So if name equals to main, so whenever someone is trying to call particularly this file, call this particular function. Okay, now there is one problem here, which is like this is expecting that this a should be a function. So let's go to state city map and create a quick function. So I'm going to create def state city scatter map box. Okay. Yep. So state city scatter map box, and I forgot this empty parenthesis. And now here I'm going to, let's give it a subheader like from Streamlit. So import Streamlit as st, and I'm going to give it like a st dot subheader, which will be visualizing state and capital cities of India. Okay, this is what it is doing. Now let's go back to main.py and let's import this. So import, like actually we can do from. So from state underscore city underscore map, import the function that we created, which is state city scatter map box. And right here, instead of a, we can say like state city scatter map box. Yep. Okay, yeah, I know I have done a couple of changes. So like don't worry too much about it. But if you reload, now this is what you should see. Select chart type, state city scatter map box. So what is happening right here is number one, we first created a separate file. Now it's much more easy to go over what has happened. So we created a file called as state city map. Inside that, we created a function, state city scatter map box. And in the function, we have just written one line, which is in Streamlit, give this subheader, which is called visualizing state and capital cities of India. Okay. Now, once this function was created, we went into a main.py and we imported that function. Okay. We called that function, we imported that function into main.py file. So we said like from this particular file, okay, please import this particular function. Okay. Now we created a sidebar dictionary. So sidebar is this left sidebar. So created a sidebar dictionary and we said that this is the key, which would be state dash city scatter map, and the value will be this particular function, state city scatter map box. Okay, the function name is the same that you have imported and it is the same that you have added here. Once we did that, we created another function called as main function. Now in that function, we said that chart type is sidebar with a radio button where you have select chart type as like a label, and the value will be sidebar underscore dictionary dot keys. Okay, so the keys of this dictionary, so the key is this. We can create another key, like we will create another key. So then when we create a second key, state city 2, let's say, and the value we can, like for the time being, we can say it's the same value as before. If we go on Streamlit, rerun this, we have now two things. This is the key, this is the second key. It looks exactly the same because the like this is not changing because we have the same function being called for both the keys, but you get an idea of what the keys are doing. Okay, so this is the key. Perfect. Now what else are we doing? Now we know that this is a function, and that is why this empty parenthesis. Okay, because this is a function, an empty yeah, we're calling a function. And what is this part doing? So we are saying that inside, like when someone clicks on this chart type, like I clicked on, let's say, part 2. Oops, I deleted part 2. Okay, when someone clicks on this state city 2 or say state city scatter map, when someone clicks on one of those, the value will be stored here in chart type. And now I'm telling, like, from sidebar dictionary, get that. Okay, now it is giving me an error saying that type string slash none cannot be assigned to type string. It's saying like maybe someone's not selecting something. Okay, but that should not be a problem as such. Like we know it will work, but I think there is a way you can go like sidebar dictionary dot get, and then I think you can provide it chart type and then create a function. I guess that should work. I'm not too sure. Let's see if it works. I think so it should work, but I like the way it was before. So from this particular dictionary, pick out the value of whatever key has been clicked on, and since we know it is a function, that is why this empty parenthesis, like everything will be a function because we will import functions here. Okay, perfect. So that is how we have set up our initially how the base setup is going to look like. Now from this point onwards, everything that we do will be in, like, let's say state city map.py. Okay, we'll write every piece of code in state city map.py, and we will only touch main.py once we come back and import a new function. Okay, so okay, first thing I'm going to say that this is a scatter map. So I have changed the subheader. You can go to Streamlit, reload it, and you can see that now it is called scatter map. And also in main.py, I'm going to remove this state city too because we currently only have one thing. And there's also a format document. So if you right click on the file, you should find it somewhere. Yep, there it is. So if you click on format document, it formats your document nicely, adds the required spacing and stuff. So right click and format document. Okay, now let me look at the questions. Can you repeat about the second file again? Okay, that's done. So it's a function dictionary. Yes, that is it. Can one set this in an external IDE? Yes, it should be the same. It should work the same. Can we give subheaders in main.py? Why on another file? Uh, oh, the reason why I'm giving it another file is because I don't know, it like looks good because we'll have multiple functions. So like once I create a second function, like let's say call it function underscore 2. Okay. Now what is this going to do? So I will give a second subheader here. Okay. Which is like function dash 2. Now what will I do after this is I will go to my main.py, and since it is coming from the same what do you call same file, same file has two functions. I can go something like space and function 2. Now here I will come and I'll create a second key. Let's call it function2. Give it a value of function underscore 2, like function2 here. Like let's say this is the key and this is the value. Now I don't have to do anything else. I can go to my main.py, reload it, function2 here. This is the subheader. Helps me differentiate that, okay, which subheader am I looking at? Okay, and of course there are multiple ways to do the same thing. So I mean, feel free to like change it. I'm going to delete all of the code that I wrote because you don't have to write it. I was just showing you a few things. Now let's move on. Okay, perfect. Now let's focus on state city map. Now here I am going to, like, after my imports, I'm going to give a path to data, and I'm going to say that it is coming from dot slash state underscore city underscore data dot json. Okay, so this is the file that I'm calling. I think if you can click on copy file path, you can paste it. Yeah, should be the same. So you can click on this three dots, the kebab menu, click on the copy file path and paste it in this as a string. So this is my path to data. So it is like I'm creating a constant kind of right there. Now I'm going to create a variable. I'll also actually add a few comments as we go along. So loading state and city data from JSON file into a pandas data frame. Okay, so that's what we are going to do here. Yep. So I'm going to call it state underscore city underscore data equals to, we have imported pandas at the top. So I'm going to just do pd dot, it has a read underscore JSON. Okay. So pandas has a read JSON method on it, which inside which you have to give it a path of the file. So read underscore JSON. And since my path is stored in this particular constant, which is path to data, I'm just going to do that. So pd.read JSON path to data. Also, let me give a comment right here. So to give a comment, you can do control forward slash or command forward slash if you're on Mac, or you can just write like hash, and that is a comment. So give a subtitle in the Streamlit app. So yeah, makes much more easy. Now we can actually kind of see this data on Streamlit directly. So we can go like st dot, I think it's called as, we can do like, let's say, let's try the write option. So st dot write and state city data. Okay, so this is the variable which I'm doing as a write here. Let's go on to our main.py, reload this, or you can click on the rerun. And as you can see, this is the data. Okay, so ID, state, capital, latitude, longitude, and we can see it nicely in a table. Now there is this column coming in, which is very interesting. Like it starts from 0 and like goes up to 35. But we already have a ID column which starts from 1 and goes to 36. Now this thing, like this column is coming from Streamlit because it's like it's trying to be smart, which is nice. Some of the times it is nice that you are being smart, and it's like telling us that, hey, you can have this index column. Okay, which again is okay. But I don't want that index column because I already have an index column, right? I already have an index column, so it does not make sense for me to have another index column. So Now we can actually, I think you can do something like index call inside this and tell it that there is a ID column. Oh no, it won't work in JSON. Sorry, my bad. Uh, what about here? So you can do, I think, st.data frame, and inside that st.data frame, you can tell it to hide underscore index, and that would be true. Now let's try this. I'm not too sure if this will work out, but hopefully it does. Yep, it did. So to hide that auto generated index column, I had to make two changes. I had to make this a data frame. So instead of using st.write, I'm using st.data frame. I'm still plotting the same variable, but I've given it an additional parameter, which is hide index true. So without hide index, what was happening was we were getting this additional uh, column, okay, which was auto generated because Streamlit was being smart, which is nice again sometimes. Sometimes it's not, because since we already have an ID column, which for us can act as an index column. So that is why I told Streamlit that please hide your auto generated index column. So hide index true, and this is what we are left with. So ID, state, their capital, their latitudes, and their longitudes. Perfect. And let me add a comment here. Show the show a table. Okay. Okay, so now that we have done that part, we can see the data in a table. Anyone who's stuck at this point, any questions, anyone or anything? So, yep, we were using st.write, uh, but now we are using st.data. Actually, let me copy paste this. Okay, so now this is what we are using, st.data frame. The state city data is the variable, hide index true, which is hiding the auto generated index. Perfect, no questions. Nice. Yep, definitely much appreciated. Thank you everyone who's been commenting and helping out everyone else in the chat. Okay. Okay, now time for us to plot our first map. Woohoo! So, what are we going to plot? We are going to plot a scatter map. So, I will create a variable. So, fig equals to, we have already imported plotly.express as px. So, you can do px dot. And if I go over to the documentation and if I search for scatter map box, okay, scatter plots on map box in Python. So it says that you have to do px dot scatter underscore map box. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Px dot scatter underscore map box. Now it takes in multiple things. Number one is it takes the data frame. So what is the data frame in our case? It is this variable which is storing the data, right? So that is state city data. And then it needs a few other things. It needs the latitude, it needs the longitude. Then we can customize it by giving it color, and the size and a bunch of other things. So let's start doing that. So data frame, state city data, the latitude. Okay, what is the latitude going to be? Now in our case, the latitude, if I go over to this data itself, the latitude is has a key called as lat. Okay, so in our state city map, the latitude is actually the exactly the column lat. What about the longitude? So LON. Okay, where am I getting this LAT and LON? Like, where, how do I know? It's in their documentation, lat and lon. And then this is the key or the column name. Okay, you can think of it as the key or the column name. So lat is coming from this column name, or the key, which is lat. But our lon, oops, I should close this. Yeah, lon is coming from this particular key or column name, which is long. Okay, so longitude. So I am going to just add that. So long is the longitude. Now, once we hover over it, so you can give it something called as a hover name. Uh, and we can say that on hovering, it should say which state is it. Okay. So state, and what is the data of that particular shell. So we can also give it a hover data. So hover name, you can think of it the name of the column to display when hovering over the points that will be created. The hover data is going to be the capital. Now, where is this capital coming from? Again, it's right here. Okay, so hover name, hover data. We need different colors for every capital. Okay, I would prefer that. So I'm going to tell it that color equals to capital. Okay, so different capital name should have a different color. And where is this color is coming from? Okay, so if you go over to this, you can see that it says color continuous scale px colors, cyclical ice fire. So but this is continuous. We can also have something called as a discrete color sequence. So color underscore discrete underscore sequence. Okay, equals to px dot colors dot qualitative dot plotly. So that is one of a discrete color palette. And okay, I think for now this should be enough. I'm going to right click and click on the format document. Please do not press enter while in don't press enter while you're typing these values, because I've seen that it goes like outside of uh, the function sometimes. So put it in like one line initially, and then just right click on format document, and it should format it nicely, and this looks much more readable. Now once this is done, while we can do multiple things, uh, let's just see what happens. So I'm going to say return, like from this file, please return st dot plotly underscore chart this figure. Okay, st dot plotly underscore chart this figure based on the data that we have already. Let's see if it works. If it fails, what happens? So it failed miserably, but I can see different colors for every capital here. So there is a capital, there's like the names of the capital. Okay, the names of the capital, they have different colors, at least seemingly different colors in a way, but there's no map. So let's come back and let's add a few more things. So step one, I am going to tell it that fig dot update underscore layout, and I'm going to give it a style, a map box style. So map box underscore style, and that is going to be something called as a open street map, open dash street dash map. Let's come here, rerun this. Okay, something happened. It shows something, but it is too zoomed in initially. Okay, like let me reload, and you can see it shows a map, shows a bunch of things. There is an option here that you can see on hover, which says to expand this. So once you expand it, you have a bigger map, but you need to like kind of zoom out a bit. So you can click on this like zoom out button, and this looks okay. Okay, if you zoom out a bit, you can see like different places that are being plotted. Okay, so like let's say I slightly zoom in, I hover over here, it's Maharashtra as the state, and capital equals to Mumbai. It also shows latitude and longitude at which it is plotted. Okay, different states, like I need to hover over the point. Like if I hover over here at this part, does not show anything. But there's a point here, clicking on which it kind of shows me things. But the background is much more like prominent. We should also zoom in or zoom out a bit. Okay, and I need this map to be much bigger than what it looks like. So let's do a bunch of those things. So step one, I am going to tell it to have a zoom level of 3. I need the height of the map to be in like 600 pixels, and we can also tell it like initially uh what should be the center, the geographic center it should focus on. So the center that I have found works well is like latitude of uh, I think 20.59, and the longitude of 78.96. Okay, again I'm going to like right click format. So this is the center that I have defined, and now let's go back and rerun. Much bigger map, initially starts from India, and I think like good level of zooming in, like zooming out actually more like. Okay, so it's not like zoomed in like this, it starts at much better position. You can also define, if I remember correctly, I think you can define the opacity. Okay, so what will be the opacity be like? You can like if you go like 0.1, so opacity of 0.1, like this is too light, can't see. What about opacity of 0.9? Okay, much more prominently looking. So yeah, that is our first plot. Now we can do a bunch of other things as well. Now you can, okay, let me just first add a few comments. uh Plotly scatter plot base map style. And now let me also look at the comments. Why do we put capital in brackets for hover data? And I think it takes a list of column names. Yes, but actually, you know what? I have always advocated this. Let's not put a square bracket and let's see what happens. Now, if I reload this, still looks the same, right? Hmm. So as far as we are concerned, actually it doesn't matter as such. It feels like that it won't matter. But I think somewhere here you can find uh, the color parameter, right? So let's quickly search here. Color equals to, you can give it like one thing, and yep, it seems to work fine. Okay. Also, can we try this color continuous scale? So instead of this thing, like instead of the discrete sequence, let's try the color continuous scale and let's see how it works out. Does it work out? Does it look good? In our case, it seems to me that okay, interesting. Looks exactly the same as before. So what's happening? Can we like not have this part, or can we remove the color capital? Okay, let's try that. If you remove that particular aspect, everything is plotted as blue. I remove this part as well. Let's see what happens next. So the best way, as I always advocate in my streams, is to like remove things and see how it matters. Okay. So in our case, it seems to us that color scheme as capital gives us different colors. That is much better. We don't really need the color discrete sequence or continuous sequence because it kind of auto generates on its own. And there is the base map style that we are using. If we don't use this, we don't see the map as such. Okay, doesn't know what to show. Okay, if we add that and if we like come back and reload, it then shows the map. Now there is uh, with regards to this comment, I will just say that it is coming from this open street map box style. So like we don't have any control over it, and like let's not get into that right now. This is more of a learning aspect, like how do we create it. You can of course provide your own data set based on your own latitudes and longitudes, and it will show you kind of a map which you would like to see, or you can use a different map box style. Okay, so where is this map box style coming from? Map box. uh wow, can't find. Oh, nope, not here. I think in one place, map box styles Lotly. Nope, not Lotly. I think it was called, like, let me remember quickly. Mapbox style OpenStreetMap. Mapbox style OpenStreetMap. I remember seeing different street maps. Like one of them was OpenStreetMap, but there are different base map style. I think it's called Mapbox base maps. Oh, yeah. Hmm. I will try and find like the list of maps that you could use, but the first one, or the like actually the free one, is this OpenStreetMap. Okay, so that is why we are using that. And okay, now a bunch of other questions. I'll resolve those questions and then we can take a like 10-minute break, and then we can come back to continue working and creating a second map. Now the questions are, can you quickly show the main.py again? I think I'm missing something. Yes, definitely. So this is what the main.py looks like. As correctly pointed out, that you can actually see the fork. I will send the link in the chat. So if you open this link, it should have all the code that I have written till now. already 15 people have forked it. So it should have everything. There's main.py, there's uh, state underscore city underscore map.py code as well. So you can actually like kind of copy paste all parts of this. There's also the data. So if you open the link that I have shared, you should see everything. Streamlit is not working. Yeah, so what you have to do, like again, to quickly review, is first of all, where is our Streamlit? Our main thing that we want to run is the main.py. So the command is like we have to first go to shell. If you can't find shell, you can click on this tools option and you should find it. Like you can find it here. Like if you scroll down, you can find shell there. And then you have to do like once you open the shell, like let's say in our case, if let's say supposing I don't have shell, what I do is go to tools, I scroll down, click on shell, I get the shell, I can drag and drop it anywhere. Now in the shell, I'm going to start typing if it lets me type. Sometimes it doesn't. Yes. So I've closed web view and now I'm typing streamlit space run space which file to run. I want to run the main.py file because that is the entry point. So I hit enter. It will start running something and it will say like there's a local URL, there's a network URL, and well, what to do now? Uh, you can zoom this web view page that has opened, zoom it, click on the show web content. Like this is one way to do it. Click on show web content and you can click on this new tab which will open the whole thing in a new tab in a new on a new page. And then you can restore the pane, make it smaller. The second way to find it is click on this networking tool or the settings icon, and then it should also show you the dev URL. So these are two ways how you can find the Streamlit page, and you'll have to run it. This is on Replit. If you are doing it locally, just by running this particular command, streamlit run main.py, you should get a local URL. Click on that local URL, and that will open in your favorite web browser, whichever is default, and you can see Streamlit there. I can't find the format option when right clicking. Interesting. Now, format document option, I remember it used to be somewhere else. It used to be somewhere here, but even I'm like thinking like why it's coming on right click. It also gives you the command. You can do command S on Mac or control S if I'm assuming correctly to format it. So you can do control S or command S to format the document. So this is our first map. Yep, control S should work. Yes, true. Nice. And perfect. So now it is showing, which means you can now see Streamlit. And yep, thank you so much for that. Control S. And that is the first map. And let's take, I think at this point, we can take a quick break of uh, 5 minutes should be enough. 5, 10, like let's do a 10-minute break, have some water, and come back. When I have hide underscore index equals to true, it says this error. Are you sure like you're doing st.data frame as this? Like because it works for me. So ideally this code should work the same way. Interesting. Can you like copy paste from like mine, or Can you show how to get the web view again? Yes, sure, will do. For if3ll, can you like go over to this REPL and just copy paste it and see if it works fine. Okay, now, yep, to get the web view again, let's go over that quickly. Uh, Everyone else, please feel free to take a break. Let me put a quick banner saying break till 10 minutes from now, 21 plus 10, 31. So time here is 13:21. So I will say 13:30 British summer time. And uh, okay, so okay, let's go. Everyone else, please take a quick break. Let me come back on screen so that you know that I'm here, but I'll be gone. Uh, okay, okay. So step one, what you have to do is find, like, first ensure that you have a shell, not console. Okay, first ensure that you have shell. Once you have shell, yeah, you can see the name right here. All you have to do is streamlit run main.py. Okay, hit enter, and that should do something. First option I would say would be like, let's say, click on this networking tool, gives the dev URL, click on that and it opens on a new tab, and you have Streamlit. The second option would be this web view that opens. Okay, now if you like zoom or maximize this, you should see the show web content option. Click on the new tab, and even that should open. Like, one of those options will work for you for sure. And then just click on the zoom out, and that's how you can see Streamlit. Where can we watch the recorded session? It should be available on YouTube. So let me find the link. Think it would be live right now. So Major League Hacking. Yep. And there we go. I think this link should work out for you to watch the video. And replit out of date is very interesting. I don't think it should be that ways. Uh, like, can you like create a new template? Like, just hard reload your replit, create a new template, and copy paste that whole code. Maybe that will work. Ensure that you're using the Python template. Okay, please make sure that you're using the Python template that we had initially started. uh, I'm assuming you have done the same, but just hard reload your replit, create a new template, and then start like copy paste the whole code that you have. Okay, okay. I don't think any other questions. uh, if I've missed a question, please put it in the chat, and once I'll be back in like what, 5 minutes now. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. Let me just reduce volume a bit. A lot of bits, let's just say. And hopefully everyone's back. Let me just remove the banner. Bad music. Perfect. Yep. Hello. Welcome back. Okay. Now, there's one last thing that I want to show you in this one is in this uh, layout style in this scatter map box, which is you can actually have another thing called as margin. Okay, so you can give it a margin, and the margin is going to be a dictionary. Now you can it take something like left, and let's say you give sorry, r left, right, top, bottom. So R is right, T is top, L for left, B for bottom. So like let's say I start with top. Okay, so top I'm giving as 20. Right I am going to give as 20. Uh, Bottom I'm going to give as 50. Uh, Left. Left. Yeah, I need to calculate quickly, like in my mind. Like let's say 50. Okay, so I've done a bunch of things. If I can quickly do command S, so that formats it. Oh, there's also a format button right here. If I go over, reload this, it kind of made it smaller. I am not too sure if it's like understandable. Like let's say I go like 120, 120, 150, 150, and like rerun this. Yeah, as you can see, it kind of makes it smaller, so it kind adds padding. Okay, that's what it does. It adds padding. And yeah, that is something that I wanted to show you all, like how to add padding. Sometimes you need to, right? Sometimes you need to add padding. uh Pandas recap, please. We didn't do much with pandas. All we did was number one, load using pandas, like read JSON, and everything else was more in like Streamlit and Plotly. Uh, so yeah, I, we didn't do much with pandas, but I think I will have a data set where we kind of uh, change the data a bit. That's when we will like read more, understand more about pandas. I hope that helps at that point. Like right now, I don't think we have anything which can actually talk about it. uh you can of course increase the height and like make the padding as 0. Okay, so padding as 0 will like make sure that the map is exactly like the biggest possible size. And yep, that is it. Okay, yes, so that's our first map. Hopefully you all enjoyed learning about it. Now we will plot this exact same map but use a different type of plot. Okay, the different type of plot will be called as a choropleth map. uh, Choropleth. I always like, it's a sort of a tongue twister. uh, Choropleth. Okay, Choropleth. So choropleth map. So what is a choropleth map? It is more of like using a tile style to visualize data. Now the current data set that I have, which is like it is more suited towards scatter map. Okay, why? Because the capital will have a specific geographical location. Okay, let me come back on screen. Maybe my actions will make much more sense, my body language should make sense. So the currently the data that I have, it makes much more sense in scatter map because every capital has a specific location, a specific latitude and longitude, right? So it makes much more sense to use scatter map. But because I want to show what choropleth map is, I will use the same data set. But let me tell you, like, this is not like a choropleth map is much more useful when you want to show a shading of data. Example, let's say you want to show forest cover. Okay, like uh, the density of forest in every state in India. So that kind of data set is much more uh, useful to be shown, is much more apt for choropleth map. So you can use it to show shading. Okay, so shading of geographical regions, of countries, of forest cover, of uh, population kind of density of that. So that is what it is ideally very good for. The colors, they of course represent the data values or categories. And yeah, population density, election results, this is like, it is good, like for those kind of choropleth map is good for those kind of things. But in our case, unfortunately, we are going to kind of use that, like the same data set that we have to show choropleth map. But you can see an example on Plotly website. Like, look at this, they have kind of shaded the regions properly. So different regions, like different shades in the region, showed like different unemployment rate in this, right? And it much makes much more sense in terms of state. It does not, it will not be like majorly different or something. But I just want to show how to make a choropleth map. Okay. uh yeah. And yeah, I think so, that should be it. Also, I quickly like was checking, and it seems to me that there are something like, there's OpenStreetMap Mapbox style. I think there's something called as Cartopositron. Cartopositron. I am not too sure if it will work. Like, uh let's reload. And okay, yeah, it does work. Okay, the map has kind of changed. The other option is, I think, stamen terrain. Mm, okay, sorry for that. Moving on. Now let's create a choropleth map. Okay. So how do we do that? Let's create a second function. Okay, we don't want to mess up this particular function. I'm going to minimize this. So I'm going to click on this fold block, which will fold it or minimize it in a way. And let's move on to the next part, which would be to plot state underscore city underscore choropleth. Okay, yeah, this is a tongue twister. Choropleth map box. So this is a second function outside of the first function, of course. And let's give it first a subheader. So st dot subheader. And what was the subheader that we gave previously? Let me check. Visualizing state and capital cities of India scatter map. So I'm going to copy paste this. But instead of scatter, it would be choropleth. Choropleth map. Okay, perfect. So, and now we will go over to main.py and import this. So state city choropleth map. Okay. And then we will, of course, create a sidebar. So state dash city, choropleth. Yeah, perfect. Map, which will be the second function, which is state city choropleth map box. Command S or Control S for formatting works. You can always right click and format document as well. Let me also format this particular document. Uh, okay, that looks something like done. Let's go over to our Streamlit, reload this, and state choropleth map. Okay, so perfect. So the page is working fine. I can select between two different chart types, which is again working nicely. We know that the different subheaders can be seen. So yeah, that's good. Let's move ahead. What's the next part? Of course, we need to read the data again. So we will read the same data. So state city data JSON, not state underscore city underscore data. It will be pd dot read underscore JSON, and we will give it the path to data. And once again, let's plot it. So you know what, I am going to copy paste what I had previously. Okay, that was a bad idea of folding because I'm basically opening it again and again. Let me also add a bunch of comments, which is like, it should be the same. Give a title. So yep, subtitle right here, and this would be loading state and city data into a pandas data frame. Okay, and yeah, so once we have done that, once you reload, you go, it should look exactly the same as before because it's the same data, of course. But now comes the next part, which would be figure equals to px dot choropleth map box. Okay, and let's keep this empty. Let me add a comment. uh, what comment did I have previously? Plotly scatter plot, and now it would be plotly choropleth plot. Okay, so that is the figure, and now inside this is the magic. Okay, number one, we need to give it the data. So data frame equals to state underscore city underscore data, of course, which comes from here. Also, at this exact moment, let me return the data like st dot plotly underscore chart. Plotly chart because you like that's coming from plotly streamlit documentation. Okay, st dot plotly underscore chart, that is used to plot specifically plotly charts. Okay, so just quick reminder there. And fig is the figure that's coming here. So we have not written much, frankly. uh like this is what we have right now, and let's see what it looks like. So if I go here, click on the rerun, doesn't look like anything, but if you hover, you can see that okay, there is like something here. There's a figure that's supposed to come here. Okay, a figure is supposed to come here, but it's not yet. Okay, there is something in the comments which says, can you please give the complete code? Yep. Okay, already shared. Thank you so much. uh, Okay, so now just giving the data frame does not help. That's what we have learned from here. Okay, uh, let's try and give it the same things that we had given previously. So let's give it this latitude, this longitude, uh, like exactly the same thing, and let's see what happens. Okay, we are just trying to see what happens, uh, so that we can understand this better. Okay, and let me format this. So first thing, it says latitude is not understandable in choropleth map box. Like if I rerun this, choropleth map box got an unexpected keyword argument lat. These two things do not work in choropleth map box. Okay, let me remove that. Let's go back and rerun. It doesn't help us. Okay, does not help us in any way. Nothing works. Okay, what are the other things that we can keep? So we can keep the color, and you remember this part. Let's also try that. I think maybe that is the problem. If I give it a map box style, rerun. Okay, I can see the map now. Perfect. So the map can be seen. We know that there are two options right now. There's Car2 Positron and there's Open Street Map. Okay, these are the two possible options that we have. Uh, Still doesn't plot anything. Okay, it has the data, but because choropleth mapbox cannot have latitude and longitude, it is not able to plot anything. Everything else is like the zooming factor, like and the outline, but it is not plotting anything. So how can we make it plot something? That's the next question that we need to ask. uh, there is an option that we can give it, which is called as locations. So locations will be the state. I think locations existed previously as well. No, it was hover name and hover data. Okay, so locations is a new parameter that choropleth mapbox takes, which is in this case state. Let's reload again. Okay, no changes. uh, and yeah, we are at a dilemma. What do we do from here? Now there is a very special parameter in choropleth mapbox. If I hover over it, you can see this is called as a GeoJSON. Okay, if I go over to this one, to the documentation, there is a GeoJSON. Definitely not GeoHSON. So GeoJSON, a formatted geometry information where each field either has an ID field or some identifying values. The idea is that you can give it a JSON format of like the data. Okay, you can give it your custom data. So there comes the second aspect, which is we are going to create this GeoJSON file. So I'm going to call it as Indian map coordinates dot geojson. Okay, like look at the file name, the file extension, it is called as geojson. So that is geographical JSON. You can think of it that way. It is geographical JSON. And this is a very big file. Let me tell you that. It has like 27,438 lines. Like a really, really, really big file. And what does it contain? So uh, let me search for Maharashtra here. So there's a properties key, which is again a dictionary or a JSON of key and value, where st underscore nm is the key, like state name is the key, and the value is Maharashtra. And the things that are above that is basically the latitude and longitude or longitude values of uh, Maharashtra. Okay, the proper latitude and longitude values of Maharashtra. So type is a feature, it's a multi-polygon, like it is basically the shape of Maharashtra. Okay, so that is, and then you have like state name Puducherry, you have like Andhra Pradesh, latitude and longitude of that. So it has multiple things. So that is why we created this separate file, Indian map coordinates.geo.json file. And in this file, all the coordinates exist. Now I'm going to share this with you all. Okay, so please go over to my Replit, copy paste this, create a file called as, like, to keep the name same, Indian underscore map underscore coordinates dot geojson. Dot geojson is important. uh, so Indian map coordinates geojson, and yeah, just copy paste this whole thing. Now there is a question, shouldn't that be in a module or separate file or something? It is a separate file. So yeah, it is a separate file that we are creating, and we'll import this in our code. And where can we see the previous teams? Yep, on YouTube. I had shared the link like just a while back. Yep, there we go. Yes, that is the link that you can use to kind of look at the stream. Okay, it's a live stream, but you can of course come back to it later. No problem. uh okay, so hopefully everyone has copied this. I will wait for like, let's say, couple of seconds. We have like 7 minutes until the end of the stream. So, and we should be able to plot within that much time. It's not too much. So hopefully everyone has the GeoJSON file. Okay, so what are we going to do? Let's create a path to GeoJSON, a constant. Okay, and you can just say like copy file path, paste it here, and now inside our choropleth map box. Okay, let me hide this. Inside our choropleth map box, in px.choropleth map box, I am going to tell it the GeoJSON is equal to, we have to load this file or open this file. So we can go like JSON dot load. Okay, what is this JSON? It's a library, so we should import it as well. So import JSON. So in JSON dot load, and then we tell it to open the file. Which file? The path to GeoJSON in read mode. Okay, so the meaning of this is open the file in read mode, and I hope this is the exact same name. Yep, looks like it. Let me format it, and don't forget a comma at the end of this. Like, just before the locations, there should be a comma here. Okay, now let's see if it has affected our code. Now it will take some time now to run, like it won't be as fast as it was previously. Reason being, it goes over the GeoJSON file line by line and then plots that coordinates. Okay, uh, unfortunately we don't see it. We only see the capital names, but there's nothing that's shown here on the map. Okay, it does not plot it. So we need to give it a couple of other things. The next thing that we need to give it is the feature ID key. Like, which feature are we plotting? Or like, yeah, what exactly are we plotting? So we did see that there is a properties key, there's a properties key which has a key called as st underscore nm. So let's come back. So we will say, or I can just, yeah, let's type it, properties dot st underscore nm. Okay, also don't forget a comma. So now once I have done that, let's see how it works out. Let's go over here, rerun. Again, every rerun is going to take time. Okay, so because it plots it again. And there we have the map. Okay, so now it plots it. If I hover over it, does not show anything. So we are missing the labels aspect. But you can see that there are different colors for different states that are plotted in a way. So what exactly is it plotting? It is plotting the state name, okay, on the map, and it has one color for the whole thing. Oh, now it loaded it. But you can also provide, I think, custom label names, right? So not right, I mean, okay. So you can provide it custom labels if you want. So let's say I go like labels equals to, and we can say capital, and that is like capital city. So what is like this capital will change to capital city as a legend. And okay, it is going to give an error because I forgot a comma. At the same time, let me also define the opacity. And I'm going to put it as like 0.2 for now. And let's not forget the comma. I think opacity exists here, and I was wrong. Oh, is it already? Oh, it's because it's already assigned. No, my bad. And I was not wrong. I had already assigned it. Okay, it's at 0.9. You can do zero point 0.2, let's say. So what do we have? We have the data frame. We have GeoJSON, and yep, yeah, you forgot a comma. Yeah, Streamlit is fast to find your mistakes. Let's go over to state city choropleth map, and okay, oops, sorry. There seems to be too many questions in the chat. Just so. Once you plot it, yeah, the opacity that changes. If you change the opacity, you can see, and if you can also zoom it. Okay, so there's a like expand slash zoom button here, and this has renamed to capital city. And for some reason, okay, now it does. Oh, also you can hide particular things. So like let's say I know like here is capital city Bhopal, state Madhya Pradesh. So if I hide this, okay, it becomes like white. Hide Mumbai, hide Imphal, Shillong. So it becomes like white. So only the ones that are highlighted can be seen. And you can like double click on one thing that will only focus on that particular region. Once you double click on it again, it brings out everything else. And that's how you can plot a choropleth map. Now let me go over the questions. Sorry that the session is going to go a bit over time, but that's okay, I feel, because there's no other session in between. It's my session again after an hour. Okay, I worked on a project where you upload your GeoJSON. How is it different? Nothing different as such. Just wanted to show that you can like use your custom GeoJSON file. Uh, Not getting the GeoJSON file on this. Interesting. So I am going over incognito, and if I open this, No, this is taking too much time. Okay, let's say if you go over to this one, take this line, and let's open this. Let's try and open this. Uh, yeah, there is the file. I think it's just taking too much time to load because it's too big, probably, but the file exists. Give us the complete code, please. It is, yeah, it will be in Replit. Okay, so the complete code is in Replit. Okay, everything that I have written is in Replit, so you can check that. Yes, everything is here, so should be visible, should be available. And yeah, with that, any other questions before we end the session? Let me come back on screen. Okay, hello everyone. So we are going to end this session. Everything is on Replit. Let me share the link again, so you can find all the code that we have done today on Replit. uh, Today on in this session, we are going to end this part one now, and you can join me back after an hour for part two of this session. Okay, so I am doing the part two today itself. So you can join me back after an hour, have a lunch break, dinner break, breakfast, whatever time it is in your region, have that, and join me back in an hour for part two of this session. If you have any questions, remember them and you can ask me in part two. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure, definitely, doing this session. And there are no more questions. I'll end this. Thanks, all. Yeah, thanks, all. Wow, that's a lot. Thanks.